Susan. I'm so glad to be here with you today. Thank you all for joining us and for sticking through the presentations. And thanks to Vivian for organizing us here today. Thank you. My portion of our talk today will be about advancing society through a broad definition of sustainability, how our IFLA regional group has framed this, and how existing ALA and Canadian national advocacy efforts can inform your local efforts. So, we've heard the SDGs today, so what are they? How many of you are familiar with these? Okay, almost everybody. I won't spend too much time here then, but the Sustainable Development Goals, also known as the Global Goals, were adopted in 2015 by the United Nations member states as a universal call to end poverty, protect the planet, and ensure that all people enjoy peace and prosperity by 2030. Now these are goals, right? Not everything is going to be achieved, and something else will be developed in its place by the UN for these aspirations, leading up to 2030 and beyond. So this is one step. But these 17 goals are intersectional. One area can affect other areas and outcomes in others, and that development balances the social, economic, and environmental sustainability. There's the website, you can go to that. So what is the role of libraries in the SDGs? I believe, and IFLA believes also, that libraries are key partners in this global work. Achieving all these goals depends on information. And the libraries around the world, that is our specialty, and that is where we are trying to impact these goals in that way and other ways. And IFLA has been actively involved with the creation and promotion of the Sustainable Development Goals, just as they were with the Millennial Development Goals preceding these, and just as they will be with whatever is imagined in the future for this progress. They have advocated at various places, including at the UN, to keep access to information, safeguarding cultural heritage, universal literacy, access to information and communication technologies in this framework. They have done great work there. And so many of the groups in IFLA, the committees and our regional division, finds this important, and all types of libraries, professional associations, cultural heritage organizations can be involved in this work. And doing this work and connecting it to the SDGs, I have realized over the years makes it easier for libraries to also advocate at their local level. If you're a university, advocating with your provost. Of course, if you're a public library, advocating with your city, advocating with your leadership in your city or your town, or if you're a school, advocating with your leadership in your school, and so on. So in our group, in NARD, our North America Regional Division, we made this, and these are new. They just started in 2021. So we are the first group to come through this in the regional divisions. And because it was an important goal of IFLA, it became a priority in our strategic plan. So it was included in our first 2 years and our second 2 years in our action plans. And you can see that goal was really hard to read, but you can, I'll read it to you. But from the first 2 years, it ensures that librarians in North America have the advocacy skills to demonstrate how libraries contribute to our government efforts to achieve progress on the SDGs. And I was involved with that group in the first 2 years and also these past 2 years. We've presented at various conferences, we've done various webinars, we collaborated with a partner effort with another IFLA group called the MLAS, which is the Management of Library Association section, which has representation from library associations around the world. We partnered with them to do a webinar in March of 2023 on the SDGs and library associations. And the current chair of the subgroup, Andrea Chiquetto, continues this work of bringing awareness, and I'll mention a little bit more about that progress in a moment. So there's 2 slides here I have on North America advocacy efforts. I'll talk a little bit about the American Library Association work with which I'm most familiar. Sustainability was adopted as a core value by the ALA in 2019. ALA presidents since then have worked to define sustainability as practices that are environmentally sound, economically feasible, and socially equitable. So you hear those echoes of the SDGs in that work as well. And the broad push through ALA was for the Sustainable Libraries Initiative. And this awareness and advocacy of the global efforts was part of this vision when ALA first created a task force on the UN 2030 SDGs that was in response to the IFLA call for library associations to do this work. I was a member of that committee. It was chaired by an ALA past president, Loida Garcia-Figo, and that work found a permanent home in ALA. So that was the first group there. We did various things. We did fact sheets. We did downloadable materials. They're still there. These are adaptable to local environments. And I'll show you an example of that in a moment. We found a permanent home in ALA through the International Relations Committee. So there's a permanent subcommittee related to the UN SDGs. There's a multi-year effort to involve the divisions and roundtables and other partners that could be found in ALA for this work. So this subcommittee is also partnering with IFLA Indigenous Matters Section, the UN Library in New York, and the International Indigenous Librarians Forum. We've done various advocacy and webinars and information sharing over the past year and a half. We've also organized at the UN High Level Political Forum to do side events. We did one last spring in New York. So that's that's part of that group. But ALA also has other groups involved in this: the Public Library Association and the Sustainability Roundtable of ALA. So there are many groups looking at sustainability broadly there. So I have and talk a little bit about Canadian efforts that I'm aware of, and other members here could speak with more knowledge. But as I mentioned, our committee member and who's chair of the subgroup and who we may know from CFLA, your current president of that, Andrea Chiquetto, has chaired this group and brought closer collaboration and awareness among the Canadian Library Associations in that role. She has made it a priority to work with the SDGs, and we mentioned a workshop that we did yesterday, putting your library on the map, thinking about how to tell individual libraries can tell stories and tie those to the SDG efforts through the library map of the world that Susan mentioned. There's also an IFLA trainer that Kim Silk, who's with us today, who was trained at the IFLA headquarters and can talk to your libraries about the SDGs. So what can you do and what can libraries do on the ground? So I have two examples here. The Los Angeles Public Library, which they've done charts and advocacy with their city. Their city has done a review of their strategic goals of the city, their mission, and also related to the SDGs. And the public library was already thinking about this and was able to dovetail right into those efforts and to make their library and their mission more relevant for their government officials, right? In doing that kind of review of the city of Los Angeles. So you can go to the ALA website, this is still up there, or the LA Public Library has more information, of course. And they also made it into their city report, right, for these efforts as well. And the Toronto Public Library, as Sean mentioned, of course, is working to map strategic priorities to the SDG goals. So really, we're trying to provide these advocacy tools and raise awareness, and to make the difference in our communities, and to also translate that into advocacy. And you can always, in our programming, I think of how much programming we do and how much of that relates to the goals of the SDGs. So just briefly, the future considerations. As I mentioned, the regional division started in 2021, and many of us are rotating off. right? So we've served our 2 terms, we're maxed out. We have many American and the Canadian counterparts are rotating off of NARG. So if you are interested in serving in that way, please talk to Diane. Diane or Aviva, if you're interested in that. But I hope you can see the impact that the National Library Associations have had at the local level there. These activities continue to grow, and these local efforts impacting their national association direction. And as part of this, sustainability and the advocacy continues to be a priority both for IFLA and for us. And we're always willing to partner with other associations. So thank you.